Welcome to FoundHER Voice podcast, the space for bold, empowering, raw, and unfiltered conversations about business, relationships, and everything that makes us fierce. No filters, no fluff, just real talk. We're back with season 3 and we're going even deeper. Get ready to own your voice, break barriers, and step into your power unapologetically. Let's get into it.
Hey, welcome back to FoundHER Voice podcast. Today we are talking about post-menopause with Dr. Ashley, and she's going to help us and walk us through all these great things that are happening to our bodies. Hey, Dr. Ashley, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm wonderful. I'm just so excited about this podcast and how you are going to tell us, ladies, what is going on with our bodies, what we can do to help it. So I want you to introduce yourself, tell them what you do, tell all the great things that you're doing up in Louisville.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Dr. Ashley Cham. I have worked as a women's health provider for the last 17 years. And I owned a women's health practice for 9 years, brick and mortar. And I basically moved all my services online to give me a bit more flexibility. I have 2 small children. I guess they're not really that small anymore. They're 6 and 8. Track stars, and they keep us busy. So I specialize in women's health, and so I've always loved working with women. I felt, just innately connected to each and every woman that I work with, and also just we go through the same stuff. So it makes it a lot easier to relate and understand someone that's coming to me feeling like I don't feel like myself. And so I actually got into holistic health and wellness about 10 years ago because I was looking for a natural way to manage fibroid tumors. I kept going to my doctors and they're saying, oh, you have fibroids, you can have surgery, but that surgery could cause infertility because of scar tissue lining the uterus, or you can hurry up and get pregnant. At that point, that was not on the table. So I actually was diagnosed at 26, and fast forward 5 years, they had the same recommendations for me. And I just went on this journey to find something different and was introduced to frankincense, which was my crash course into essential oils. It changed my entire life. And it really made me start to think, what else do I not know? What else do they not teach me in school? You know what I'm saying? What else did I not know about the body and how it can heal itself if you provide it with the right things? And so I learned then that I was dealing with something called estrogen dominance, which was never spoken to me in all of the doctor's visits that I had. And I really went on this journey to try to fix myself. And after my youngest was born, Ace is 6 years old now. So I was 36, hormonal, crying at the most random thing, bleeding through my clothes, having acne, weird body aches, just stuff that didn't make sense. And I would go to the doctor and like, oh, you're an older mom, so it's just hormones and it'll get better. And also you're breastfeeding. As I breastfed him for 15 months, and I'm like, this doesn't feel like that. I don't feel like myself at all. I feel like I could snap and kill somebody at any moment. Like, this is not okay. And the answer was, let's put you on birth control pills. And I didn't want to do that. I just felt like that was putting a Band-Aid over a larger bullet wound. And so I started studying and learning about cypress and how it can cut down your bleeding. And I learned about all these different things that I could use to excrete excess estrogen and ultimately fix myself. So I put together this protocol that worked for me, that then I shared with some of my friends, and then I started sharing with my patients. And I was like, this is a thing. Like, women need to know that there are natural ways to manage their hormones. And so much of it is connected to our lifestyle.
All right, Dr. Ashley. So today we want to talk about post-menopause. What ages this starts, what our bodies are going to go through, or what they are going through for some of these ladies right now, and what they can do to help this. We talked about on the last 2 episodes, what we did perimenopause, menopause, and now here we are post-menopause. And Valerie is over here just like, nope, not happening. I'm going to skip these 2 stages next.
Just fast forward. Mm-hmm.
So tell us, what age does the postmenopause, usually start?
So average age is, between 50 and 52. So
Okay.
after you reach that 1 year anniversary for no cycles, then you basically cross over into postmenopause, which is where you will remain for the rest of your life. In that season, estrogen is in the tank.
Okay.
And typically the symptoms leading up to menopause they continue, or they can continue. I tell women all the time, because you are menopausal or postmenopausal does not mean you need to run and get on medication. It doesn't mean you need to do anything if you're not symptomatic. If your body is gently transitioning and you might have an occasional hot flash here or there, nothing major, don't do anything. There's nothing that you need to do besides the lifestyle things that we've been talking about in the last couple of episodes. But if you are symptomatic, this definitely is a time where we see a lot more of the genital urinary stuff. So the just because the decrease in estrogen in the vaginal area, so we see a lot of dryness, a lot of urgency to get to the bathroom, a lot of pain with sex, sometimes even excuse me, just the atrophy of the vaginal area in general just becomes very uncomfortable for women, and we do sometimes have to supplement or prescribe for that. But again, if you're not having problems, leave it alone. Just try to continue to be healthy and do all those lifestyle things. But this is definitely a season where we have to start paying attention to our bones. Like osteoporosis is, we don't want to do that if we don't have to. We don't have to live that life. So I think making sure when you turn 50, if you have not done this, if you're already over 50, make sure you get at least a baseline bone mineral density scan. So that way we know, are your bones normal? Are you having some osteopenia? Are you osteoporotic and we need to put you on medication? The other thing I would recommend too is making sure that you are supplementing. It's so much more important at this age, because that estrogen isn't coming back at the level that it was, when you were in your 30s and such. So that would be one of the biggest things, that making sure, and we could have talked about this in the menopausal area too, is like making sure you're checking your breasts and you get a mammogram, all of those things, because of the changes and shifts in hormones. The breasts change, they feel different, and you got to get used to that. What's your new normal? So those are things that we really, really have to pay attention to, like from a medical standpoint, like getting those screenings, making sure you have your colonoscopy, like all of those things that are so extremely important at this age. And then the lifestyle things, exercise, weight-bearing exercise, in postmenopausal life is very, very important, because we want to keep our bones strong and be healthy and have a healthy heart. That is important. We also see a decline in estrogen can cause an uptick in your cholesterol levels. So making sure that you're getting your annual lab work to keep an eye on that is important. And that's also where the exercise, healthy eating is going to be important. And knowing your history. Knowing the family history, because a lot of times people ask that question, Valerie, like, how do I know when I'm going to transition? It's very hard to predict, but what you can do is look at, if you have access to your mom, any female aunts, grandma, when did they transition? So that will kind of give you an idea genetically of when you might be likely to. So I think just paying attention, being aware of those things, starting to pay attention to what foods bother you or don't sit right on your stomach, or do you respond to that glass of wine the same that you used to? Like, those things are really, really important.
Yeah. It's just like, you have just blown my mind away, lady. But I love it. I love it. I love all, the information that you're giving, because like I said, the audience has been wanting this.
Sure.
Nowadays, you don't know who to turn to. They go to the doctor with these symptoms and they just throw medication at them because they don't want to get to the root cause of the problem. And I hate that for so many females, because our bodies are doing, I say, all the weird things.
Truly.
They're going through all these crazy new symptoms. And all of our bodies aren't the same, though. Some
Right.
endure more pain, different areas than others. And they're like, oh, just take a Tylenol, take an Advil. Oh, let me give you a pain pill, right? No. Like,
Yeah,
I
no.
don't want that. I don't know why.
Yeah.
How to
Why, and like, what is the root cause? And
Mhm.
I think that is where I think some providers do a disservice to their patients, particularly women. Like, here, let me give you this prescription to fix it. Okay, you're anxious. Is that anxiety because your vitamin D is low or B12? Or is it because your hormones are transitioning? Or is it because you really have an underlying anxiety? Like, are we talking about the fact that during this postmenopausal season, women are also grieving their prior bodies?
Yep.
I think it's also a season where we start to care more about the fact that we can't have kids, even though we may have been done for years. But you know how it is when
Yep.
someone tells a woman you can't do something or
Yep.
have something, that's when we want it even more. So those types of things are often best talked out in therapy or in groups of women that are also experiencing the same thing. But I do think that so often there's kind of a one size fits all. This is what we always do for people in the season. That is not always fair to women, because like you said, our bodies are all different. We're all going to transition differently. We're going to have different symptoms. I think we also just need more awareness about what's normal and what's not.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you suggest? And I'm going to say, like, for lab work, starting to go through these different symptoms, because I know I just see a nurse practitioner here in my town, and it's more or less like, oh, we'll just do, I would say, the bare minimum lab work.
Yeah.
Well, if you are experiencing that, well, then you need to go see an OBGYN. Go see her and see what's going on. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, why can you not just run the full panel and see what's going on? Like,
Yeah.
why do you always want to just refer out? And I understand that, yes, we do need to see a specialist that is specialized in that. But sometimes I'm like, you could just run the full panel and see what's going on and be a step ahead versus sending me here and then having to do the lab work.
Then you're waiting longer for
Waiting longer.
answers.
Yes.
Yeah. So I would suggest, I always suggest doing a blood count, which most primary cares will do, just to make sure you don't have any signs of infection. You're not dealing with any kind of anemia or nutrient deficiencies, because that would show up there. Definitely a complete comprehensive metabolic panel. That's where we're looking at kidney and liver function. We see some of the electrolytes that help to keep those, kidneys especially working and functioning properly. Cholesterol, the lipid panel is very important. We want to know our good and bad fats, the HDL and the LDL, so that we know like what we need to work on. If you're having menopausal symptoms, you're having hot flashes, you're having fatigue, you're having weight gain, especially in that abdominal region, which is where it tends to show up for us at that point, I also recommend getting your thyroid checked, because a lot of those symptoms go hand in hand. And sometimes women think, oh my gosh, I'm having these terrible hot flashes and night sweats. This has to be menopause or perimenopause. It has to be coming. And it's really just their thyroid. So I would have that checked, the thyroid, at least a 5-point test to ensure that the thyroid is functioning properly. Additionally, from a hormonal standpoint, I like doing estradiol so we can see where your estrogen levels are, progesterone for the same reason. FSH and LH are two hormones that work on your ovaries. So when those numbers get really high, that tells us that you are absolutely transitioning into postmenopause. So it's actually those two numbers often are used in addition to the estradiol to say, oh, you are menopausal now, especially for women that may have had an ablation or had their uterus removed but still have their ovaries. I would also look at DHEA. So that's one that people don't talk about a lot. It is I call it a hormone precursor. So basically, DHEA is produced by your adrenal glands. So for women who are stressed, they're not getting good sleep, their DHE levels are low, especially if they're not getting enough nutrients and stuff like that. If your DHEA levels are low, you're not going to have a sex drive. You're not going to be able to put on muscle. You can exercise all day. You won't get muscle tone. Your testosterone levels are going to be low because your body needs DHEA in order to produce testosterone and estrogen. So that all comes back to like the stress piece, right, that we were talking about before. So DHEA is important to test. And the total and free testosterone levels I would check as well. So that would be like my comprehensive, like, let's check this out. I'll obviously look at the A1C if you have a family history of diabetes, but excuse me, hormonally, I always like, let's look at all the hormones. Let's look at your testosterone level as well. Not testosterone, but your DHEA and the thyroid, making sure we check those things out.
Love it. Love it. I love all this information. I know the audience is going to love it as well.
Good, good.
Is there anything else that you want to throw in?
For postmenopausal women? I think this is definitely a season where we have to be a lot more mindful of nutrition because I've even noticed that in my 40s that the stuff that I used to do to maintain my weight or lose doesn't work the same. And like we talked about, I think maybe in the first episode on perimenopause, the protein grams that we should be getting every day, like really your nutrition matters so much in this postmenopausal season because I think it's really like the transition. Yes, your hormones are shifting, but also we are starting looking at like the rest of life, right? So how do you want those next 50 years, hopefully to go? Do you want to be on a bunch of medication? Do you, they say that in America, our lifespan has increased, but the health span hasn't quite caught up. So they say the last 7 to 8 years of people's lives, they are unwell. And so I don't know about you, but I'd like to live to 90, 100 or something. But I also want to be active and moving around and seeing my kids and grandkids and maybe great grandkids by then and being able to like be present with them. So it's like we've got to take control of the stuff that we can at this point so that we've, transitioned beyond menopause gracefully and having energy to just live life and do things.
I love it. Yes, absolutely.
Yay.
Okay, so Ashley, I want you to tell them, where to find you because I know that you do take patients, correct?
Oh, sure. Yeah. So I do virtual consultations for women who are looking just wellness in general, but especially as it relates to their hormones. And then I run a 21-day hormone challenge almost every month. And that is truly a rip the Band-Aid off, total body reset in 21 days. It's fun, but like I told you, that first week, every time everyone hates my guts, and that's okay. But you can find
me. Hate me, but then at the end you're gonna love me.
Love me, exactly. I tell them that in the launch every time, like, you will not be my friend this week, and I'm okay with it. You can use the Facebook group if you like to accost me. That's fine too. But yeah, I'm on Facebook, Ashley D. Cham. Dr. Ashley D. Cham is my public profile. Instagram is currently hating on my name change, so it's still Dr. Ashley D. Anderson. Hopefully that will change soon. And my website is ashleydcham.com. So you can check me out there. You can inbox me, email me, whatever. I'm here if you have questions or concerns or just need support in any kind of way.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, my dear.
Of course. Thank you for having me. This was so much fun.
Absolutely. Hey, everybody. So go check out the advertisements after this.
It's your time to grow. Get started with Little Pot Design Studio today.